Hi, I'm Ed Kane for Functional Therapy Magazine. I am an occupational therapist and a registered functional therapist, and one of the things that I do is help people regain range, decrease pain, increase strength so that they can get back to functioning. This is the kind of the physical part of some of the things that I do. Of course, I'm always trying to strive for people's entire life balance, but when we think about something that can really help restore your function, it might be regaining the range of motion in a knee, or regaining the motion in your wrist. Something to allow you to be able to get further in your motion every day. I'm going to demonstrate this method that I call the BOAC method. BOAC, it stands for bidirectional, which means I'm going to go in both directions. Ant-Agonist, so we've got antagonists and agonists, both moving this wrist, some resisting and some helping. Opposed contractions. Okay, so I'm opposing the contractions in one direction. So, bidirectional, antagonist, opposed contractions, BOAC. And the reason that I worked it into this acronym is because it's also short for a boa constrictor, which is really the way that you might think about this movement. There are other methods that use contractions. There's a method that therapists often call contract relax. And this is why this is different. Contract relax involves contracting to resist something and then relaxing maybe into it. So it would look like this. You would contract, say, against something and then relax down. And someone would do this with your knee and move it, and then the therapist would help you through it. What this is slightly different than this. And if you're familiar with proprioceptive neurofacilitation, it might be close to this, but I really think that this is something unique and that can really help you yourself to gain more range, or you to help your patients to gain more range. So let's say I am restricted from full flexion of my wrist here, and I want to go down further. Well, the idea of contract relax means I might contract against and then relax as the therapist applied this force. But what's going to happen when people do that? They tend to tense up because they do not trust the therapist to stop when they come up against a barrier. So what I do instead is I have them they oppose a little bit, and the idea of this is the force of a flower opening. Okay, you know, when a rose opens, it doesn't open with very much force, and I'm sure you could stop it. So, but it's this opposite direction that allows you to block that for a second and then to have them actively move down and you go along with it. Then they push against and then you go along with it. They push against, and at this point I'm not pushing down on them, I'm just going along with their hand, and they're pushing against, and then I'm going along with it. By this means they are in complete control of how far they go. It is a great thing for developing trust. Now, why it's like a boa constrictor? If you know about a boa constrictor is not the strongest snake in the world. It is just going to wrap around something and then stop itself from being stretched out again. So it might come down, and then it opposes that motion. And then as it keeps on going, it keeps on allowing you to go further and further. And it's a very natural movement. We demonstrated at other times that standing on the edge of a stair and lowering your heels down can really hurt. But if you push down with your toes, suddenly, even though you might be at a further angle, you are in control of it. What it seems to do, what my guess is that it is protecting the fascia at that point and moving the myofibrils, changing the actin myosin. Basically I'm trying to say that there's a physical reason why I think this happens. Say actin is crawling up the myosin with this little, spidery tendrils, and when you're stretching you might be pulling down like this, and then when you do one more contraction you just kind of reset the position of these and you take some of the stretch out of that part of the system. As well, you're also, because you're taking a little bit of strain out of the system, you might be stretching the fascia less, which isn't necessarily what we want, because we want to keep on moving towards this. So you would do this contraction against to realign things, and then to oppose into it. Basically, if you were just to try this without completely understanding the process, instead of trying contract, relax with your patients, try contract, contract. I contract slightly with flower power to go against this, and then I have them contract strongly into the direction of the action that they want. So they contract a little bit against, flower power again, and then they contract strongly down into it. This can work for shoulders, knees, fingers, wrists, elbows, everything, every range that I've worked on. Obviously you want to be a little bit careful about things that you're ranging, that you're not overcoming forces and shearing tendons and ligaments that are not supposed to be sheared. Obviously, if you're in a damaged situation, you want to have a therapist involved, truly. But if you're trying to get your range to get a little bit more, for instance, back in my swimming days, if we wanted to do this, this would have been a much more effective way to get that shoulder range that I was looking for. So this is called BOAC, and check it out. There's the transcript below, but if you have any questions, please email me at BOAC@functionaltherapymagazine.com. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you soon. Bye.